that if Terence Crawford bulks up, that's going to be the biggest mistake he can possibly make. And that's going to hinder him from being victorious against Saul Canelo Álvarez.
Mike Tyson gave his perspective after working with Terence Crawford, stressing how vital it is to remain composed ahead of such a massive showdown with Canelo. He explained that fighters always face crushing pressure on this type of stage, but the true war is mental. Tyson believes that if Crawford keeps control of his thoughts and doesn't allow himself to be consumed, he can perform freely, making victory appear far more achievable.
You know, fighters, pressure, right? Pressure's not being hit. You know, everybody thinks pressure's like getting on stage. No, pressure's the thought of being hit. And that's how they fall. The thought is going, I'm not hitting that hard, but they think I am.
Right. So
it's all psychological.
Are you, when you're walking to the ring, are you noticing anything, or are you so locked in?
I see everything moving. Every person, every girl. I see everything.
Dude, your walk-ins would last longer than the fights sometimes.
Do anyone have a napkin on my towels? Because I'm sweating like a pit with one hole up here.
You're sweating.
We will get you one.
You're sweating.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're sweating like Charles Barkley at a spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm going to be sweating pretty hard there, too.
Exactly. So, Mike, we all know you hit hard. Who was the first person that when they hit you, you was like, oh, okay, this guy hits pretty hard?
Amir Khan, a former champion who once went toe-to-toe with Canelo Álvarez, recognizes the immense scale of a possible clash between Álvarez and Terence Crawford. Khan praises Canelo's greatness and superior experience, yet points to Crawford's legitimate punching power, with Crawford adapting to the new weight. Khan views him as stronger than ever before. He insists this won't be a one-sided contest. Since both fighters have elite skill sets, to Khan, it's more than just another fight. Is to rare talents colliding, each able to change everything with a single strike.
To Canelo after, so to your point, can Crawford do the same? Coming up from 54 and 47, can he, or will that, you know, throw off the catch and shoot? I was going to catch and shoot.
We're not catching and shoot.
Make me think.
We're not catching and shoot.
We're catching it, resetting, and getting out of this range for a minute or two.
My fight with Arrow, I came back to the corner. I had a look on my face, I guess. And my dad said, what's wrong? I said, nothing. Like, you know, classic Sean, nothing. He said, Sean, tell me what's wrong. I said, my legs are kind of tight. He said, your legs kind of tight? He looked back, looked behind him. He would always do this and look back at the other corner. I don't know why. He looked back at them.
It was a habit problem.
He said, all right, we're not going to use our legs so much this round. And I was thinking to myself, like, I need these legs.
I'm not trying to wear these shots.
Yeah, so, you know, to your point, when there's a feeling, you know,
when the nervous system goes out,
where does that adjustment take place? Do you trust the adjustment? Do you implement it? So that next round I did settle down a little more. You know, I was
lost around.
Whatever. Hello. I ain't know around here. Chill out. He don't even know around here. Pour this water on you. So we got some time until this fight. So you know we ain't gotta pour it all out at one time. We'll work our way up to this one.
Try to get on big guests to lead up to the fight.
Expect some more very, very big guests, and expect some very, very big things from the Puerto Rico podcast. The week of Crawford versus Canelo versus Crawford takes place here. What is that? September 6th?
13th. I was just gonna say, you know, I've been critical of the fight because I felt like it serves as a foreground to the Ali Act stuff. And
experts have quickly raised questions about Crawford's age and ability at higher weight classes. At 38, when this fight could take place, he will face the natural decline that time brings. Although he moved up to 154 to defeat Israel Madrimov, one fight has not convinced observers that he can stand against a veteran like Canelo. Age affects reflexes, speed, and recovery, things essential against a relentless opponent. Analysts admit Crawford's skills remain sharp, but argue his body may not respond like before. They frame this as the toughest test of his career technically, physically.
Being successful, September 13th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium, when he takes on another first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed world champion, and reigning undisputed super middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Álvarez, who is 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Terence Crawford had one fight at 154. That was against Israel Majimov, the WBA junior middleweight world champion, right? And since then, Terence Crawford has moved up now to 168 to challenge Canelo Álvarez, okay? And so prior to that, he spent 5 years at what? Welterweight. So the concern that people have for Terence Crawford, rightfully so, is that Terence Crawford will be 38 years of age 2 weeks after the fight. So he's 37, okay? Terence Crawford has one fight at 154. Prior to that, Terence Crawford has been competing, okay, since 2018 for the last 7 years at 147. Since June of 2018, he's been fighting at 147. His only fight outside of that division in the last 5 to 6 years was his fight against Israel Majimov at 154, which he won, unanimous decision. I thought he handily won, but people thought that he struggled. Israel Majimov is now 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 7 wins by way of knockout because he lost his last fight to Mexican superstar, WBC junior middleweight interim champion Virgil Ortiz Jr.
On September 13th in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium, Crawford faces a first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed champion, and current undisputed super middleweight king, Saul Canelo Álvarez, who holds 63 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws with 39 knockouts. Crawford only had one bout at 154, where he beat Israel Majimov. Since then, he's jumped to 168 for Canelo. Before that, he spent 5 years at welterweight. Concern comes from Crawford turning 38 just 2 weeks after the fight. His lone fight, outside 147 in the last 6 years, was Majimov, and though he won, critics thought he struggled. Majimov is now 1-0-1.
Team Crawford just revealed that they're currently working on making sure that the Omaha native doesn't end up like Jermell Charlo this coming September 13th when he faces Canelo Álvarez. Now this report comes from Boxing Scene, wherein it was just revealed by somebody from Crawford's camp that Terence Crawford is, quote, wary of repeating the mistake that former 154-pound champion Jermell Charlo made to a new weight limit without consideration of other factors. Boxing Scene further elaborated by saying that Crawford wants to retain his ability to fight with fluidity, maximizing the effectiveness of his power punches from both hands and ability to fight from a southpaw stance. With that said, Crawford's camp is now on full lockdown from the media or any sort of distraction up until fight week. Now, it's definitely worth considering that while it's technically
Crawford and his team continue to stress their preparation, saying they are determined to avoid the mistakes Jermell Charlo made when Canelo dominated him. Crawford insists he is not Charlo. His discipline, style, and ring IQ separate him. His strategy is built on movement, accuracy, and pacing. They know strength alone won't beat Canelo. Instead, they plan to frustrate him defensively and land counters. Training camp has been brutal, with sparring and drills to simulate Canelo's pressure. Sources report Crawford is wary of repeating Charlo's mistake by adding weight. Poorly, to stay sharp, Crawford's camp has gone into full lockdown, eliminating media distractions until fight week.
Man is simply human. I mean, the more you age and the more weight you gain, of course you're going to be slower. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't be an elite fighter anymore. No, of course not. When you talk about special fighters like Terence Crawford and Canelo Álvarez, they can handle themselves against anyone on any given night in the worst circumstances possible. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get back into the discussion when it comes to Terence Crawford carrying the 168 division, when it comes to the 168 pound weight. So if you actually think about it, Terence Crawford, how is the man looking right now? I know, yes, I know that we have seen the new pictures of Crawford with him looking absolutely massive, but I actually talked about this in one of my previous videos, ladies and gentlemen, which you can go back and check out. Terence Crawford, don't let these pictures fool you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let these pictures fool you. Yes, of course Terence Crawford gained weight, but the pictures make it seem like Terence Crawford looks like a heavyweight. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. The lighting and the pump and the angle, everything plays a part in how you look in pictures. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I can show you 2 pictures of me taken within 24 hours, and in one picture, my physique looks completely different than the other picture. One picture I can take after having a unbelievable workout, with a nice sweat on, with a nice pump, with some nice lighting, and a nice angle. I would look completely different than when I look right now, or getting out of bed, which I just did.
It's important to remember that experts often highlight the natural risks of adding weight in boxing. Speed and agility can dip as fighters climb divisions. Now that Terence Crawford is competing heavier, images have spread online showing him looking bulkier. Still, analysts warn that pictures can be deceiving due to lighting and angles. The real question remains, at his age and with extra muscle, will Crawford maintain the quickness that defines him? Muscle can add power, but it can also sap stamina and reduce.
Quote, it will be a sparring session for Saul Canelo Álvarez. Coach Abel Sanchez dismissed Crawford's chance against Canelo. And it's really because of the weight gain. Renowned Mexican trainer Abel Sanchez has reignited the hype surrounding Canelo Crawford, scheduled September 13th, Las Vegas. Speaking to the ring, Gennady Golovkin, trainer, says, quote, Crawford is a great fighter, but that's why weight divisions exist. Canelo has proven that when he moves up, he faces and beats the best in each category. Neither Bivol could hurt him, nor could my fighter in 2 fights. And he's talking about Golovkin. And even though Canelo and Golovkin fought 3 times, Abel did not train him for the 3rd fight. It was Jonathan Banks. So that's why he said in the 2 fights that he's familiar with, he's saying that Golovkin never really hurt Canelo. The weight jump, the big disadvantage. Crawford, undefeated record. He's 41-0, 31 knockouts. Agreed to move up to 168, blah, blah, blah. And he says, quote, if Crawford had taken 3 or 4 years to gain strength and mass properly, he would have a better chance. But doing it in just over a year is too risky. He'll be slower, and Canelo will dictate the pace. Now, this is a recent picture of Crawford, who definitely looks in shape. And, you know, that's what we come to expect from a guy like Crawford.
Crawford is human. After all, with age and extra weight, of course he'll lose some speed. But that doesn't suddenly erase his elite status. Fighters like Terence Crawford and Canelo Álvarez are special. They can adapt to nearly any situation, even under the worst conditions. That much is undeniable. Still, let's focus again on Crawford's ability to truly carry himself at 168 pounds. Recently, photos have circulated of him looking massive, but as I've said before, pictures can mislead. Lighting, angle, and timing can all exaggerate. One photo after a hard workout makes you look totally different than a casual snapshot the next morning.
I love it because I have a lot of casuals who go to me and like, man, I can't wait for this fight. This is the best matchup that can be made. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's certainly not. Definitely not. Definitely not the best fight that can be made right now. I can think of a dozen fights that I would rather see. And a lot of them include Inoue against a bunch of different guys that I would rather see over this fight. But casual fans don't care that much about 122-pound guys who fight across the world in Japan. They care about big names and characters. But at the end of the day, when you look at this on paper, Crawford's 38, Canelo's 35. Neither looked very impressive in their last fight. They're still 3 weight classes apart. That has not changed, because, you know, and Crawford hasn't fought in a year plus. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of poo-pooing of this on paper. So I'm glad somebody says it. So thank you.
He didn't say his name. Yeah,
I like this guy. He came out there and just said his piece and left.
That's the type of guy that definitely calls in the WFAN here in New York. It's like, we need Boone fired. The Yankees suck. I don't look forward to anything. But
what's up with that bullpen?
Yeah,
All right, I'm out of here.
exactly. I'm out. I'll hang up and listen. But yes, like you said, there are a bunch of fights you'd rather see. There are a bunch of fights I'd rather see both these guys in rather than the one we're getting. Like I'd rather see.
That's a great way to put it too.
Yeah, Boots versus Crawford. I'd rather see Canelo versus Benavidez, Canelo versus Bivol, Canelo versus anyone at 168 of these top 5 there.
What about Virgil and Crawford? I like that fight. That got mentioned at one point.
Absolutely. I mean,
Great
but
fight.
this is how boxing works. We'll all be excited on September 13th because it is a big event. We've talked about this numerous times on the show. We need big events, at least 1 or 2 of them a year to stay relevant as a sport. It's on Netflix. We're all going to be excited that week heading into it. Maybe even that guy.
Hey, Dan and Chris. Love the show. This is Nero calling from Hollywood. I was wondering, with so many people taking Bud Crawford to win, I think at one point it felt like a hot take, and now it's becoming sort of a standard take. I hope this isn't too much of an abstract question, but can you think of another time where someone chose what seemed to be a hot take and then become the regular take? And what was the result of that?
Trainer Abel Sanchez, one of boxing's most respected voices, doesn't see Crawford having a realistic chance with Canelo. Sanchez compared the matchup to more of a sparring session. Claiming Crawford is simply too small, he echoed a popular view that Canelo's natural size, power, and higher weight experience give him a huge edge. While Sanchez calls Crawford a great fighter, he insists greatness can erase physical disadvantage. Speaking to the ring, he said, "Crawford is excellent, but divisions exist for a reason. Canelo has proven that moving up, he still beats the best." Sanchez pointed out how not even Bivol or Golovkin could seriously hurt Canelo. The weight leap is Crawford's biggest disadvantage. His perfect 41-0 record with 31 knockouts remains, but moving to 168 so quickly is dangerous. Sanchez added, if Crawford had taken 3 or 4 years to build mass naturally, maybe he'd stand a chance, but in just over a year, it's too risky. He'll be slower and Canelo will set the pace. Still, recent photos show Crawford looking sharp, which is no surprise. He's always prepared physically. Chris Algieri offers another take, criticizing the hype around this fight. Fans and promoters call it one of boxing's greatest matchups, but Algieri disagrees. He admits it's exciting, but far from the best ever. He says this contest doesn't compare to historical clashes where both men were in their primes. Algieri warns that the drama might be exaggerated since Crawford is in unfamiliar territory.